So as you'll have just watched, it's me flying around a couple of fields on this bike. So stripped it down, given it its first wash. I always say first wash because I always end up missing bits like there. Tyres need redoing, obviously. But so the main purpose was to test suspension and tyres. So on the suspension, I ended up going up on compression on the front and rebound, and I ended up going down on compression on the rear. I also tested wheels and tyres. I tested my DWT sector wheels with Terracross tyres. They worked brilliantly. And then I swapped to a brand new tyre, which I've never ever mounted before, on an IT rim. So these are ITP Baja Cross. They're an old tyre now, so unfortunately they don't make them, but I have got some ITP Blackwater Evolutions, which are quite similar to these. Come in. These are 8-ply. The Blackwaters are 8-ply as well. So it's quite a heavy wheel and tyre combo setup, but it handled brilliant. It dug really well with these deep lugs. I'd say these lugs are not far off an inch deep, and as you obviously can see, quite a bit of room for the mud to dissipate out of them. So, like I've said before, I'll do a full video on wheels and tyres, but that's just what I tested. In the end, I probably preferred these, but I'll retest with my Blackwaters when they come. All of these ITP tyres are available from CRP. Sorry, they're available from Tyreline in the UK, which is a subsidiary of CRP. They are located down south. I want to say Devon way, but they are a sponsor of mine, and they're an importer for ITP, Wanda Tyres, and various other brands, but I choose to use the ITPs. They have wheels in stock as well, but they provide me with some tyres to test and give some feedback on. They've also got a range of tyres coming out under the brand Compass, which are in the works to be tested, hopefully this year. It was meant to be last year, but there was a few delays. So I'll look forward to them. But for now, these are leading my favourites. These are very, very close second. I have used these for years, and they've been brilliant. But the main difference for me from last year is the rims. So these are all narrow offset. So my previous rims were 4+3 offset, which meant 4 inch of the rim was inboard of the hub, 3 inch was outboard. Whereas these are either 5+2 or 6+1 or 5+. They're either a 6 or a 7 inch rim with a maximum of 1 or 2 inch offset. So the majority of the rim is inboard rather than outboard, which makes a massive difference when it comes to steering on the front axles. So it gives you a lot tighter turning radius. So that is why rim offset is very crucial for what you want to do, whatever class you race, whether it's motocross or XC. So there will be a fresh set of graphics going onto these very soon, because these are quite old. These are 2022, I believe. I had these on the year I had my shoulder injury, and it's a very good looking bike in my opinion, but we've got one over there, it's going to look a bit better. I will more than likely end up riding this bike at round 1, just because I've had a chance to test it. That bike I was hoping to get ready for round 1, but in fact I'll take you over there now. So unfortunately it's a bit of a dumping ground in here, but like I've just said, I was hoping to have this done and ready for that testing day, but I got caught out by a leaking crank main seal. So I didn't really want to be driving around and loads of oil come out the back of it. We have everything for this bike now, it's just a case of putting it together. But because I've tested the red bike, I will more than likely be using that, as it's what I know for now. Once I've got this up and ready, I can go and test it around the field locally, hopefully, or round a local little motocross track or a practice day somewhere, and then I can get this bedded in and set up to my liking, because I did make a few changes to suspension on that, and this definitely needs some suspension work. I'm going to go and get the suspension serviced, which is my TFX N10Z factory long travel. Been speaking to Jay and Hans who makes them about that. They've come up with some good ideas. Well, let's get them serviced and then we can have a look at testing. But that's where we're at on this bike. This hopefully will be done in the next week or two. I want it done before round 1. But main priority is get that bike prepped. Then I can put my attention on this one. So I hope you've enjoyed me fly around the field and just a bit of talk on suspension and tyres. But that's the main aim of what we went to test, and I thought it was quite a successful day. The only downfall we had, quickly, sorry I'm rambling on a bit, I was going to test my mud lights as well. Mud Light 2s. These are an extremely light tyre. Although they are 6-ply, they're a very light tyre on a light rim. So they're on the same DWT sector rims, and that's probably my lightest wheel and tyre combo. But unfortunately, one or I think 2 of them have got slow punctures, so when we got down there they were leaking air, so I didn't bother testing them. But that's all for now. Hopefully get another video in before the season starts, and then one after that will more than likely be round 1. So hopefully see you there.